So,
How about this? Okay.
That's how I like to start.
With real strong,
With
big energy.
strong and unsure of what we're doing, and that's what I'm about.
To be fair, you've always come across as unsure of knowing what you're
No
doing.
kidding. This is how I get through life, or don't. I'm Alan Dempsey.
And I am Rafiq Shaheen, and with us is a fantastic feature act. You may have caught him on Wigs and Wit, as well as more. And you had a podcast that you were going to start a while ago. Did you ever get around to that, or?
I don't think I've ever started a pod. No, I never started a podcast.
Okay.
You know what I like?
I've never had a podcast.
I like your own uncertainty about whether or not you started a podcast.
Maybe Rafiq has something.
And your name, sir, is
Tommy Gill.
Tommy Gill. How long have you been doing comedy?
I'm always embarrassed to say this, but it's like I started like 11 years ago. But between like making a lot of bad like comedy habits and a lot of breaks,
I think I remember.
I remember you from a while ago. Yeah,
I think I maybe a year before you did it.
Okay,
if that. We were pretty much right at the same time.
Yeah.
I think
There's always that thing with comics where it's like, there's the when did you start comedy, which you go like, I started comedy in 2000, and then you go, okay, but when did you really start comedy? Like really start focusing on comedy? And people will be like, oh, that was like last year. And it's like, yeah, of course, like you're not a headliner yet because you may have been doing this for 12 years, but you didn't actually give a shit for 11 of those.
2015 would be the answer to the latter question. Yeah.
so. That you felt like you buckled down and really
when I first started like in 2010, the thought of like doing more than one mic like a week even was just it would have been like mind blowing.
Yeah, I was definitely the same way. That's one of the reasons why I don't do it anymore. I just couldn't. I didn't have the energy to keep up with it. Basically,
it can wear on you.
Yeah.
I started. I officially started in 2012, but I know I started giving a shit in like 2017.
Oh, okay. Wow.
And because it was one of those things where like I remember that even though I was doing more probably earlier, it was one of those things of like I hadn't really envisioned myself making like a life out of it.
Okay.
It was the like, oh, I'm funny, and like funny people say that I'm funny, so like I guess this is just who I am.
Nice.
And it wasn't like this is just who I am and this is also how I make money. It was like this is just who I am. It was like coming out of the closet and being like, hey, I tell jokes. Like
I've been telling jokes in gas stations privately for years, but now publicly I want everyone to know I tell jokes.
Yeah, it's funny because a lot of people who start stand up are funny. I always say that I started stand up because like I wasn't funny, but just like really wanted to be funny. That's sort of
that's interesting.
Yeah.
Do you feel like you acquired the ability as you went?
Yeah. I think like the more I do stand up, and it even varies like from week to week. The more I do stand up, I just feel like it like makes me funnier.
So when did you know that was a thing you wanted out of life?
I wanted to be an actor, like since I was like a kid, and then I didn't get into like the advanced like acting thing in high school, so I was like, I'll just downgrade to stand up. I guess
that's awesome.
I was called like the dentistry of the entertainment.
So you went backwards instead of starting on stage and then having a sitcom. You tried to have you know what? I'll just go back to the stage.
Nice. There's it's funny because we were talking about this at brunch. Like there's always that thing with some people where you watch them on stage and you go like, you're a fantastic actor and you're funny. You are not a comedian. I love watching you on stage. It is great. This is definitely not your forte. You know what I mean? Because there are some people where you look at them and sometimes it happens the other way around too. Yeah. You watch somebody in a movie where you're like, stop trying to act and just go back to stage where you were funny as opposed to being like the zany guy in movies, because that just is weird and sad.
Yeah, because if you try to go from being the funny actor to being on stage, then you get angry and start screaming the N-word, and you tank your whole career.
Didn't he start out, though, as a comedian?
As a stand-up.
Well, he was like ish. He was just one of those guys. He was kind of an entertainer. We're talking about Michael
Richards.
Yeah.
I mean, he was in a bunch of movies. I'm pretty sure.
UHF.
Yeah, he was in UHF. He was in like Transylvania 365,000, whatever the name of that movie is. And then I think he was just like one of those guys. Like, I'm going to be some kind of clown wherever they let me do it, you know?
Oh, speaking of movies, I forgot to mention this earlier, but Tommy, you may like this too. So anyone who's listened to us before knows that I love Z-tier movies.
Z-tier. I've never heard that.
So these
like ABC, A tier, B tier. He likes B tier.
Right. These are movies that are so bad that they come around to being fantastic.
Huge fan.
Right. And we were talking about this earlier. Like, there are some movies that are like great. There are some movies that are like good. And then you have like bad movies and then Z-tier movies where it goes all the way back around. And I think the difference between a bad movie and a Z-tier movie is a bad movie doesn't believe in its core premise. Right? So you just look at this movie and they go, oh no, this is a movie about bank robbers, but like we really wanted to tell a love story, so like everyone is kind of just half-assing everything and not in a fun way. Whereas like a Z-tier movie is like, no, we're talking about Dracula, Hitler fighting robot like George Washington from the coming back from the grave. We believe that's the best kind of movie we could make right now. But I've started watching Turkish Exploitation films.
Wow.
And I watched the Turkish Captain America movie where it's Captain America fights Spider-Man.
What?
Who is selling counterfeit money that he stole from the U.S. in Turkey.
Is it at least Captain Turkey? Or
no,
is it
it's Captain America.
Fantastic.
Captain America and Turkey.
Yeah. That's phenomenal.
It's Captain America and his girlfriend Jane.
Uh-huh.
And their
and Tarzan.
Well, I forget what the name of their third friend. Versus Spider-Man, who is a dude in a Spider-Man costume with the eyes cut out, and he's just wearing glasses, like regular glasses,
like prescription glasses, not cool sunglasses.
And the best thing about the movie is when I was watching this, I was like, "This is going to be something special." And then Spider-Man shows up on scene, and you're like, "Oh, cool! Like, what are they going to do for webbing? Like, is he going to like?" Web up a guy, how like terrible are these special effects gonna look? No, Spider-Man shows up and he just stabs a dude with a knife.
Is his name Spider-Man in the movie?
His name is Spider-Man, but they keep on referring to him as the Spider.
Okay.
Because that's the name of his gang.
Nice.
So, wait.
J. Jonah Jameson was right.
He is a menace.
So, my name is Allan, so my gang is called Allan. So, and he was so like, is that? I am very confused.
It's a bit presumptuous. Yeah.
So, think of it more like this. It would be if you were Iron Man,
okay,
and so your gang was just called Iron.
Okay, that makes a little more sense,
right? But this is the thing. Again, this is not the first Turkish exploitation film I've watched. I watched Turkish Star Wars, which was fucking phenomenal. I've watched...
How old are these movies?
A lot of them were like 70s, 80s.
Okay.
Kind of.
Are they like real grainy and fucked up looking?
Sometimes.
Okay.
So, but here's the thing. I'm moving forward in time, and they're not getting better at quality. No. Like one of my favorite things is I just watched a Turkish exploitation movie, which is clearly Dirty Harry. It is clearly, clearly Dirty Harry.
Oh, it's Dirty Harry.
Right?
I see what I did there? I don't even know if that's what Turkish people do.
Whatever.
And the best thing about it is like...
Oh, I have a Turkish story, by the way. Keep going. I just remembered.
One of the best things about it is there's clearly the scene where he's like doing the like, do you feel lucky punk?
Okay.
And he shoots the gun out of the bad guy's hand and then holsters it like it's a Western and then gets into a kung fu fight. Like a fist fight. Like an actual scripted, like, okay, you're going to go bounce off this wall and kick this guy in the face. Like,
I know what to do to be more effective is to put my automatic weapon away and resort to fists.
That's like in Fast and that's like in Furious 7. He's like, you thought this was going to be a street fight? He like pulls the gun out and then he like puts it away. You're goddamn right.
Oh God. I'm disturbed by that story on very many levels.
So
am I coming in staticky to you guys? I'm all staticky in my own head.
No.
I'm losing my mind. It's fine. Let's continue.
So, actually, you just did something that I wanted to ask you about because I've always loved this about your act as a whole. So, you do voices.
Yeah.
Like, you do Jack Nicholson and, you know. And one of the things I love about that is, like, I've never understood how do you, like, for you, how do you internalize that voice so you can then reflect it out into the world?
I basically just keep recording myself trying to do the voice. And it just sucks. It sucks. And it doesn't tend to be a gradual improvement. It tends to like, I was practicing Vin Diesel my Vin Diesel isn't great, but it's sort of like in my head where, I sort of like know how to do it a little bit. It'll just like click, maybe like months after I was practicing it.
Okay.
Yeah. Do you find that, I've seen a lot of interviews with like Dana Carvey, and he talks about how he's not really interested in being identical. He's interested in finding a hook.
Oh yeah.
That, like if the guy has a tendency to go up at the end, he just exaggerates the up, and so like the rest of the voice doesn't matter.
Yeah.
So do you follow it on any level like that, or are you going for like authenticity?
For me, I mean that's like a master of the craft. For me, I tend to like go after impressions that someone else has already like paved the way to.
Okay.
So like Jack Nicholson, Nicolas Cage, people sort of know
right
what to expect from an impression of them. So
got it.
But yeah, I prefer like funny impressions to, like accurate impressions. Like Frank Caliendo, it's like I can't even really watch him.
Yeah.
Dana Carvey's probably my favorite like impressionist. Like his episode on the Norm podcast, he's got like just so many, just like funny impressions, and accurate too. But
speaking of which, I know this is gonna both timestamp this and be slightly irrelevant, but like how sad is it that Norm's gone?
Yeah,
that's and nobody knew it was coming. Apparently he was like, my understanding is he was super private about the fact that he had been battling cancer. And what's crazy, I just saw in like 19 he had done some kind of like internet Q&A, and somebody was like, do you have any words of encouragement for my aunt who's dying of cancer? And he gave this very like positive, this too shall pass, God bless, and then boom, 2 years later, it's a little creepy.
Yeah, it's weird. It's weird because he was. Every so often, I feel like there's a person in the comic field that comes along who could be described as like comedy's uncle. Right, like
comedy's uncle.
Yeah, like Rodney Dangerfield, Patrice O'Neill. Norm.
What is the uncleness of that?
The uncleness is like
I'm sorry. What is the avuncular quality of that?
Wait, what?
Sorry, hold on. I put my thesaurus away real quick.
So to me, it's the nature of this is a person in the community who is talented, capable, who generally everybody respects. But there's something about the nature of who they are as a person that people kind of turn to them as like a catch-all, like he's family. Like it doesn't matter whether or not you liked Norm's material. like just listening to like people talk about him since his passing, people talk about him in a familiar sense that you don't get from like other moments of like
you do kind of feel like you know him in a weird way. Yeah, I see what you're saying.
Like, and you know him more so than you would know somebody else in his relative position. You know, it's like, oh, Norm, like the fact that I'm saying Norm passed as opposed to like Norm MacDonald passed away, you know, like I'm saying it as like,
I don't think you said McDonald, did you? I think you just said that's funny.
You know, and like Patrice is another great example of that. Dangerfield was another great example of that.
Yeah, you can just say Rodney and people know you're talking about.
You know, and like it's very like weird and sad because it really does feel like your funny uncle, you know, who like everyone would be like, oh, it's Uncle Norm's here at the barbecue. And you'd have to listen to like a 45-minute story about like why he and his girlfriend came here in separate cars. But you'd be like, I don't understand any of why he told this to us, but it was fucking fantastic, you know.
Well, like him, Rodney, Patrice, I think they sort of lived a comedian's life in addition to being like great on stage. Like there are a lot of comedians who are great on stage, but you don't hear any like real like stories about them. Really.
Right? Yeah, that's a very good point.
Well, I mean, not to get off on a thing here, but with Patrice and Norm in particular, the stories you always hear from the people that were in their lives is that those two in particular did not give a fuck. They cared about what they did, and beyond that, like they just weren't going to play ball. Yeah. If you told them, well, go do it this way, they'd be like, okay, and then they just wouldn't. They just would do whatever the fuck they felt like doing.
Well, mentioning them together, I just thought of like their two respective. I think they each only did it once, but their roast performances.
Yes,
both very
legendary.
Just
Patrice's is unbelievable. Patrice
I listen to that all the time.
I've watched that one 100 times, and he's brutal. But he's brutal. He's not brutal in a roast way. A roast way is me looking at you going, oh, what is your V-neck and your hair coming out? You know, like I'm just picking something, you know.
Yeah.
His is like, you suck, and here's exactly why you suck.
He wanted to like hurt people more than he wanted to be funny, which was funny.
Yeah, beautiful. He goes, Charlie Sheen, I respect him, but I don't.
I love the Steve-O. This new not drunk you sucks. Or stinks is the word he used.
One of my favorite Patrice stories always comes back to that Kevin Hart thing where he's like, I was at the Comedy Store doing a set, and like Patrice just walks into the room, throws a phone book on the stage, and goes, read it. It's better than your act.
I just remembered my Turkish story. I don't know if I ever told this on the podcast. I don't think I did. For a brief window of time, I was hurting for work, and I ended up getting a job. I was representing Google products in stores. Meaning I was not working for Best Buy, and I was not working for Google. I was working for the company that Google hired to send me into the store and stand next to the Google shit to try to sell Google shit. Okay, I see a look of confusion on your face. I am willing to clarify if you need me to.
I'll try to repeat it back to you.
So I'm standing in Best Buy. There's this giant Google display with Chromebooks and the little Chromecast, all the Google shit. And I'm just standing there bored. And this little, I will never forget this as long as I live, this little Turkish woman walks up to me and goes, I have a question. I go, yeah. And she goes, what is Google?
Nice.
I just went blank. What is Google? How do you? What do you? So what? I just start pointing at the stuff on the table. Well, you know, we got Chromebooks and we got the Chromecast. And then she does that thing where you like make a face and wave your hand like, no, that's not what I mean. Like, you know, and it starts to become immediately clear she has not enough English language skills to ask or understand the question. And at that point, I'm going, what do you hope to get out of this interaction? You don't understand what you're asking me. I don't understand what you're asking me. How do we get through this? And thank God her husband across the store kind of saw what was happening and got her out of there. He was just like, no, come here.
He's like, let's go watch Turkish Captain America.
Yeah, exactly. But just, what is Google? What do you say?
I will say
That's like, what is Sony? It's a company that makes stuff.
I will say my favorite thing about the story, besides the story itself, is the fact that your impression of a Turkish woman sounds like a Swedish person.
The reason why I decided she was Turkish. Here's why I decided she was Turkish. Because a week before that, I genuinely helped a woman who was from Turkey.
Sweden.
No, from Sweden. From Turkey. And she was trying to get, because she wanted to be able to more easily this was 2015. She was wanted to more easily video chat with her Turkish family. And hopefully I led her to the right computer. This other woman came in and had a kind of similar accent. So I just started deciding, well, maybe there's a big Turkish community around here. I just created this whole backstory for this little woman who asked me what it is Google.
I'd love to look back. We're looking looking through the portal back in time at Alan. The first woman's got a Swedish flag on, carrying a tray of meatballs.
No, she told me she was Turkish. I didn't. The first one told me she was Turkish. The second one I decided was Turkish.
Like a micro character person who thinks all Swedish people are Turkish.
So, Tommy, when you do voices, how much of it is I don't brag about my talents because I don't have many.
And you should.
And I shouldn't. One thing I think I am decently good at is kind of knowing how my voice is going to sound. So if you tell me do a scary guy, boy, okay, let's do that. Whatever. I'm pretty good at just letting my voice do a thing. So how much of it do you think is coming from just that natural, you don't have to think about it versus honing it?
It depends on the impressions. Some of them I do end up developing a character for. I could feel a personality, not.
No, I know
with any acting thing, So
well, I think there's
just they're all just sociopaths. Every impression is them
they always say right about what you know.
Yeah.
Hey, all right. This guy's over here dropping bombs.
That's a Patrice O'Neill shit.
But when do you know you got it? When do you know you're okay, I fucking nailed that one?
If the audience laughs, I guess if it clicks for me, I'm that's good enough. If I feel it, And then there's a certain class of people where I can only do lines that I've heard them do. So that's sort of an in between. And then if people, sometimes, I'll do an impression on stage and people will be like, that was not good. So naturally over time, I sort of
You should hand out surveys at the end of your act with all the names and little check marks. Which one of these was good?
So how many voices do you have currently?
Probably 10 top tier, and then I could probably pull 30.
Okay, so then I gotta ask, who are your top three? What are the ones where you got
Nicolas Cage, Christopher Walken? I guess Al Pacino, maybe. Yeah.
Do you go
Jimmy Stewart's that's I don't even think about him.
Here's a question.
Yeah.
How old are you?
I'm 27.
27. How many people in your demographic know who the fuck Jimmy Stewart is?
That's exactly it. Yeah, I'm a huge fan, but he's probably top 5 actors.
I haven't heard your Jimmy before. Can I hear it?
Yeah. Can I get a topic?
Jimmy Stewart buying groceries.
Oh, I was going to go so much dirtier than that. Go ahead.
We'll do.
I don't know. Let's go groceries. For me, there was things going up his butt. It was bad.
Well, I guess I gotta get some butter. Where's the butter at? Where do I find it?
Oh, I like the find. That was good. Find. Why? I can't do that one. Is your Pacino big Scent of a Woman Pacino, or is it low grade Pacino?
It's Son of a Woman's the...
I think that's kind of the go-to for everybody. Yeah.
Some people, whenever I hear people will do like 70s Pacino, I'm like, I don't want to hear that.
Yeah. It's just nasal. 70s Pacino is just... Somewhere in the 90s, he just completely lost his mind. He did, basically from 90...
There's pre-Scarface Al Pacino, there's post-Scarface Al Pacino, there's Scarface Al Pacino.
Right.
That's the three Pacinos.
But when he got old... whatever old means, 50, 60, he started dialing it back again.
Okay.
But from like 90 to like mid 2000s, all of it, he just screamed for 15 years.
Devil's Advocate. You see
that? I'm a fan!
It's a classic New York style pig fuck. That's like literally a line.
When he screamed, that's one of my favorite movies. When he screams, I'm a fan of man. Oh, Jesus. I'm a fan of man.
What you guys don't understand is, in order for him to be Scarface Pacino, all that coke was real. So that's the reason why going forward after that, he's still tripping a little bit.
That was De Palma, right? Scarface?
Yeah. Oliver Stone wrote it, and then De Palma directed it.
Did you see the other movie he and Pacino made? I think it was called Carlitos Way.
I've
heard of it. I have not seen it.
Okay, so Scarface is like Shakespearean, right? I think anyone who's seen it, it's a rise of an empire. It's an opera, So they tried to do it again, like 20 years later, with this movie called Carlitos Way. That movie is a fucking cartoon because first of all,
it's got Sean Penn, right?
I don't remember.
Okay.
The movie just like blanked out of my mind. Here's the only thing I remember. First of all, they tried to go Al Pacino's Latin again. With Carlito,
Okay.
And then the only part of the movie I remember is they're in like the Miami poppin' nightclub and the Spanish music's playing and you're kind of panning across the audience and everybody's dancing. And then up in like the top left, there's like the secretary booth and the woman on the phone. She's holding a phone with a cord and she's like doing spinning Spanish dancing while she's on the phone. And like, that didn't happen on accident. De Palma was like, oh, what would be cool is even if the secretary was enjoying this. That movie is ridiculous.
You know what's great about that is like doing it in that. You said that came out in like the 2000s?
Carlitos, I want to say mid 90s, maybe early 90s.
The great thing about that is, specifically because it did not come out in like the 2010s later, is in that era, they're just going to have the person doing it. Today, if you have her doing that, there's going to be like a little cutaway scene where she has to explain she's trying to get her steps in, so she's going to samba dance while she's on the... And it's just like, I don't need to know. I don't give a shit why you're doing it. It's just great to watch you do this for no reason.
And then she'll look at the camera and go, I use Noom. It's available for $19.95 at Noom.com. Everybody go to Noom.com and buy stuff. We're not sponsors, but we could be after this.
I mean... Noom, please.
Noom,
please.
Little,
please.
Yellow, different.
Reach out to us.
Touch
us. All right. So, how long do you think it usually takes you to get a voice down? I know that you said that it's more about it clicking with you, but I mean, like
2 or 3 months.
2 or 3 months.
Yeah.
So, like,
do you try it on stage that whole time, or do you you keep it in the closet and then?
There are plenty I haven't really done on stage. I generally, I don't like impressions for the sake of impressions. There's got to be some sort of like joke there. I say that hypocritically. If I'm like not doing well and I can't think of anything, I'll just be like, okay, give me a topic, I'll do depression. So yeah, but I don't plan that.
So for like, I can't do voices. There's just something about listening to other people. So in contrast to you, I have no idea what I sound like. I think I sound like a man, and then every time I listen to a recording of myself, I'm like, who is this preteen girl talking? But I will say, like, there.
I want to talk about your voice now for the next 15 minutes because you have a fascinating quality. you have like two voices. Mm-hmm. You have a deep bass grown-up man voice. Then there's like no middle. And then there's this like treble that like pierces above the deep bass. It's really weird.
And so that's the thing. It's like you say that, and I go, I'm sure that's true. I have no idea when I'm slipping in between the two.
You're not. That's what I'm saying. It's like you have grown two sets of vocal cords. One has a bass line and one has a treble line, and God forgot to fill out the middle part.
So along those lines, part of the reason why I was saying is like I can't internalize voices. I could never do what you do, but like. Weirdly enough, the one or like the two character archetypes that I can internalize are like that deep bass voice that you're talking about. Because in my mind, I go, I can do a pretty good devil character, but the character I know I can do is Dr. Claw from Inspector Gadget, which is super fucking weird.
I haven't seen that.
What is happening?
You
know what's funny?
I thought that would be like a mic
You know what's
drop,
funny?
yeah,
for a second there, I was thinking, like, well, he's young, he should know. And now I just realized, no, he's young, so therefore he shouldn't know. Because you probably weren't fucking alive when that show came out.
Oh, we're talking about the show.
Inspector Gadget, yeah.
I didn't even know there's a show.
Oh, my God. I have to go home. The podcast is over.
I'm just upsetting you guys on purpose, yeah.
Oh, that's so crazy to me. It was a cartoon. For
now that I think about it, they didn't make the movie out of nothing.
Right.
So I knew that there had to be something, yeah.
So like in the cartoon...
I have to go take a nap.
In the cartoon, Dr. Claw had a very specific voice and a very specific line. And I can express that line, which I think is in a fantastic fashion. Next time, Gadget.
Perfect.
Next time.
It's perfect.
You know,
it sounds just like Dr. Claw.
But like if you would go, hey, that's great. Can you do like someone else? I'm like, if it's a demon, yes. Otherwise,
let me ask you this:
Keith David? Probably. You could probably figure that one out.
When you say someone else, do you mean Dr. Claw again?
Right.
Because I can do that.
It's
well to be, you know. I don't think I'm a great impressionist by any means. I think I know how to, like, if you told me do a guy who, I could create a guy. That's what I mean. I actually am kind of dog shit at sounding like someone else. What I can do, though, I can't necessarily sound like someone else, but I can kind of embody someone else. Like, if I hang out with someone long enough, I can kind of pick up on their mannerisms. Okay. So I could be like, oh, so you're telling me that Tommy said, and then I would just like become Tommy just for the next two sentences.
You're not going to sound like him, but like
right.
the tone,
and the rhythm. Like
the rhythm. Be lost on the podcast.
Right, yeah.
Here's the thing. I find it immensely impressive what you do. Oh, because like because again, I can't do that. The notion of, hey, watch Alan or watch Tommy and then mimic their voice or their like action.
I think you could, because like I was at that point. I think it's just like the practice recordings.
Yeah,
I think you could. Yeah, I
think it's a skill that people can learn. But like I go the natural skill that I've seen you like embody. I would have to do things that were like unnatural and like against science in order to approach that level.
Well, I think it's also, I mean, maybe this is not interesting, but okay, there's a guy with athletic ability. He doesn't have to work as hard as the other guy on the team. You know what I mean? Some people just, they like, you just intuit. You can feel where your muscles are. You can feel where your hand is, and you throw the ball. The other guy, you have to like stand behind him, put your hand over his hand, and go throw the ball like this. You know what I mean?
Right, which I understand. But I'm saying in this context, the level of effort required would be like a headline 5 years from now that's like voice box serial killer caught.
The voice box serial. So you're stealing other people's voice, and you're trying to surgically implant them into your own voice. Is that what I'm hearing? Well, that makes sense.
The implication.
I mean, you got to keep it simple. Like, I'm not.
The implication. Do you think it's time to unveil?
Oh.
The man, the plant, the man, the mystery.
I mean, you know what? We definitely should, but I'm also curious, after you listen to this guy...
Are you aware of what's about to happen?
I'm not.
Okay,
No.
excellent.
Okay.
After you listen to this guy, we'll listen to maybe one or two jokes.
I know what's about to happen. I know where you're going.
Can you do a joke in his voice? Because trust me, the level of quality is not that high of a bar to surmount.
So let me say this. Something that I noticed the last time we did this is I'm starting to realize that Rafiq and I say the same. This is our 38th something episode, 5th, something like that. He and I say the same thing every time we pass this across. So I want to make sure that he and I don't hit the same moments that we always hit.
Okay.
But also, I don't want to rob you of your need to express yourself when you hold this item in your hand. So I'm just going to pass this along, and I just want you to feel and heal and share and just tell us what you think. He's looking. He's a little concerned. He's laughing. He's turning red.
It's so funny.
We've lost him.
I love it when you. No, it's funny. That's the thing about Z. This is like a Z tier album.
Right.
Yes.
But it's fun because you can always tell someone it's bad, but you never know the
The
not
extent
the
to
magnitude,
which it is bad.
Not even the magnitude, but just like the exact way in which it's going to be. Right.
Yes, it's not even about the mass of bad. It's the type of bad.
This guy, he just it's like he just doesn't really know what stand up is.
Right. And
By the way, if you are new to the show, he is looking at a CD called Ed the Machine Regime Tells 100 of the funniest jokes he's ever heard. And there's a picture of Ed who looks like an old mobster. And
you know what's great
Is perfect. Yeah.
is you kind of hit on something there, because when we play this for other comics will either get I fucking love Ed.
overjoyed, as you just did.
Or they will get depressed. But you had mentioned this, I think, a couple episodes ago. If you don't know comedy, you're going to listen to Ed and you're going to be like, it's okay.
Well,
Right?
I'm talking about his stand-up act. His stand-up act it's legit. I don't like it, but we've actually found him online, and he does cruise ships, and he's a good comic. Okay. He gets them on their side, he gets them on his side. He's charismatic. The guy get in there, buddy. Feel it. Talk about
100 tracks.
Yeah, there's 100 of the funniest jokes.
Or no, maybe that's not.
It's
not 100 tracks.
Real quick, because we say this every time. Most of those are out of order. Okay. On the track list there.
Even though we've listened to a bunch of them that have been in order recently.
Yeah, for the first 25, it was real shaky. Then he's been on a roll lately of being on track. But that means since the first 25 were bad, somewhere along the line they're going to start to derail again.
This is so good. Yeah.
Yeah. Why don't you read that inscription? Why don't you see what that says there?
Al, make him laugh.
This was bought for me. This was a sincere present from a family member who loves me, and I've been making fun of it ever since. Okay. And we listen to these with the comedians. We're hearing these for the first time.
Oh, nice.
So we've gotten through 52. I think I've definitely said this on the podcast. The joyful reaction you're having, that was my reaction at first. Once we listened to the first 6,
you get tired of it.
I grew to hate this man, and my loathing only.
How'd you get it?
A family member bought this for me.
Oh, okay.
Out of sincere, I love my family member. He's gonna love this, and I've been shitting on it for 2 years on a podcast.
You just got to make the exact same album, but it's Allan tells 100 of the worst jokes he's ever heard.
So our idea is once we get through this, we're going to, when we get through our next 100 episodes, so episode 200.
Yeah, because it's going to take, we've only done 52 of these, so it's going to take a while.
It's just one per episode you just listen
to? Well,
to?
as many as we can tolerate.
Right. So, but we're going to, when we start getting people on after that 100, we're going to be give us a street joke, and we're going to make an album of 100 of the funniest jokes comedians have ever heard.
We want to get, but we want to each do one, but then we want to get like all of our guests. So we want you to do one, and whoever else. All right, this is 53. It's called Selling Peaches. It may or may not be about selling peaches.
A farmer was selling his crop of peaches door to door. He knocked on the door, and a gorgeous woman came to the door, and he said, "Would you like to buy some peaches?" She unbuttoned her negligee and said, "Are they as firm as this?"
Can you guys hear?
She took her other breast out and says, "Are they as pink as this?" She lifted her negligee and said, "Are they as fuzzy
Oh, you can't hear it at all?
No, I can't hear it at all.
And the farmer started crying.
All right, hold on. Let's. It's got to be this one, right?
And the woman said, "What's wrong?" The farmer said, "Well, 3 years ago,
Is it like...
Maybe it's that. We're going to have to cut all this part out.
drought got my corn.
Nothing?
2 years ago, the flood
I can
got...
hear you guys talk. I just can't hear the CD. Trust me, I'm not missing anything.
Tommy?
I'm hearing it, yeah.
Fuck me in the butt. Well, what could be wrong?
No, just keep on going. I promise you, I'll be fine.
Yeah. I already forgot it.
You have to start it over. I missed some important plot
I'm
details.
sure you missed a really important fucking detail of whatever this dog shit is. All right, you know what? I'm going to pause recording so we can figure this out. And I think I'm going to do that. And we're back. I don't know how much of that I'm going to be bothering to edit out because editing's a pain in the fucking ass.
I mean,
all right, we're gonna try this again.
One take.
Yeah, one take Willie. That's what they call me.
We're gonna Ed Wood this.
Yeah. All right, we're going back to 53. Unfortunately, Tommy and I did hear the rest of the joke, and it wasn't worth hering.
I pretty much didn't. I didn't hear it.
Well,
I wasn't paying attention. So
thanks. I really needed you on my side, so we didn't have to listen to this. All right, this is about peaches. It's not funny. Here we go.
A farmer was selling his crop of peaches door to door. He knocked on the door, and a gorgeous woman came to the door, and he said, "Would you like to buy some peaches?" She unbuttoned her negligee and said, "Are they as firm as this?" She took her other breast out and says, "Are they as pink as this?" She lifted her negligee and said, "Are they as fuzzy as this?" And the farmer started crying. And the woman said, "What's wrong?" The farmer said, "Well, 3 years ago, the drought got my corn. 2 years ago, the flood got my soybeans. Last year, a tornado leveled my barn. And now I'm going to get fucked out of my peaches." A man goes into...
I don't even...
That's pretty bad. Like, I mean, you know, just...
Are all of you as unhappy as I am right now?
You know what I
don't even know what the joke was.
The problem is, like, bad movies are, like, funny, but, like, like bad comedy is just like, well, it can be funny. That was, like, but it's just, like, that joke was, like, why would he...
I don't even know what the joke was. Was it that the farmer thought that her body was peaches?
She's gonna fuck him and he's gonna give her the peaches for free.
That was my other assumption, but I wasn't sure.
I think the premise of the joke is that
you should have seen Rafiq just put up air quotes when he said premise.
I think the premise of the joke is that he is going to lose out of the sale, so he's going to get fucked over on his peaches. But couple issues. One, when he first introduced the farmer and the woman, he said she twice.
Did he really?
Yeah.
Oh, God.
And so he was talking as both a female farmer and the female buying the produce, which on a logical level makes you go, I don't understand why does the gender matter? Like why does it matter that the farmer is also female? What, like, does that really imply that she's getting fucked over? Or
I don't even understand how the farmer's losing his. He lost his crops to natural disasters, so he's going to lose all of his peaches because a woman wants to fuck him. What is happening in this joke?
Yeah,
this happened the last time. He told a joke about a cop. And then later in the joke, it didn't matter that it was a cop, but then the cop became a husband and he stopped saying cop and started saying, and I mean, by the end of the joke, I had no clue what was happening. And I think he just did it to me again.
Probably.
God damn it. I hate this man so hard.
Yeah, it's there's
you can see it on my face, right? Like, it's not even. I think we've gone past hate into like soul sucking. Like,
we were
So okay,
we were already in soul sucking.
no. Like,
it's
so
just
your ex-wife is fucking you in court, or she's not your ex-wife yet, and you're angry. She's taking my money, fucking bitch. And then at some point you hit this like numbness where you're like, I don't even have the power to hate her anymore. I think I just hit that point with Ed. I don't think I even hate him anymore.
Okay. Detachment. That's
Yeah.
That's good. Strategic detachment.
I still look at it like I've always looked at it, where I have appreciation for Ed the same way you would have an appreciation for a con man, where you're like, I can't believe you pulled that off. Good on you.
And here's why I can't accept that. You still keep assuming he pulled something off. This is nothing.
Yeah, but
I'm holding nothing in my hand right now.
Here's the problem. You're holding nothing, but he still convinced your sister-in-law to spend money to gain that
shit.
nothing.
That's a good point. Damn it. All right, this next one's 15 seconds long.
Nice.
Let's see just how awful it could be. First of all right, let's make some predictions. There's going to be a pause.
What's it called?
It should be about a day in court. Okay. There's going to be a pause where he has to remember the rest of the joke, because that happens pretty frequently. There's going to be at least one detail that's completely unnecessary. There's going to be a few ums as he's trying to remember the rest of the joke. And there might be at least one trip where he says a word and has to say it again because he fucked it up the first time.
My prediction is that it's actually not going to be the complete joke.
Oh, I know you're new to this, Tommy, but do you have any predictions about a day in court, number 54?
Punchline's going to have fuck in it, I guess.
Oh, that's pretty good. Yeah. That's pretty good. As we have mentioned 1,000 times, he has a parental advisory sticker that he put on himself, and he never uses the word right. He never says people were fucking. It's always people were making love. But he'll talk about them being in the fucking car. So okay. he doesn't even know how to curse properly. Okay. This is not going to be about a day in court.
A man goes into a police station wanting to talk to the burglar who broke into his house.
Oh,
the cop said, no way, you'll have
Hold on. I want to talk to the guy who broke into my house, so where should I go?
The police
Should
station.
I go to the police station? Is that where you go to talk to the burglar? God damn it. I'm already angry. All right.
Day in court. The guy said, please let me talk to him.
All right.
He
only 15
goes into a police station wanting to talk to the burglar who broke into his house. The cop said, no way, you'll have your day in court. The guy said, please let me talk to him. I got to know how he got into my house without waking up my wife.
When he said talk to him, that was the point where he forgot the joke.
Right,
Listen closely. Okay. When he says talk to him, you can hear him thinking, oh, how does the rest of the joke go? Listen.
Day in court. The guy said, please let me talk to him. I got to know how he got into my house without waking up my wife. Rose and Jim.
What?
So the joke, I guess, is that he wants to learn how to get into his house without waking up his wife. I
hate him. How many more of these? Do we have to do the next?
Yes, we do.
I don't know if I have the strength.
You don't understand.
I need you to
stop. Oh. Well, now I'm convinced. Now that I have the weight of an international terrorist organization behind it.
So now that we've listened to two, Tommy, do you think you could mimic his voice?
It's got to be nasal, so it's got to be up here.
I could try. I think I'd have to be like reading something, I think.
Yeah, give it a shot. I mean, like,
tell a you must know a street joke. A guy walks into it, so it's up here. It's definitely up in the nose, but I'm overdoing it because he's got a little bass. So
he's got door.
So this guy.
Court.
This guy goes to court. And then, trying to remember the rest of the joke.
You're talking like some 1920s, like, PI.
See? We're gonna get them jewels, see? And avoid the fight. Oh, Jesus. Let's not talk about this guy anymore.
I'm sorry. I'm gonna have to go the complete opposite direction.
Look, we got
Let's talk about this guy all the time.
Look, I mean, we got 10 more minutes. I'm on your train, Rafiq. You're the conductor.
There's something I want to say about Z tier movies. We got
yeah.
You said you were a big fan. Let's talk about what you like.
I've been like wanting to do something. Basically, I've been talking to my brother about it because like he's really into those movies as well. I've been wanting to like have a competition. I mean, it's better if it's like 2 people, but it could be multiple people, where we each like pick a movie we haven't seen before and try to like pick the worst one, like and just sort of like just compete. Just compete in terms of like bringing a movie.
Who's got the worst? Like
worst being like. Bad makes everybody miserable, or worst being the one that makes everyone laugh the most?
So bad is good. Yeah, okay. Yeah. And I prefer.
So what's on your list for your competition?
So this is a weird one. Just one I've been thinking of. Maybe you guys will see this one is Junior, that movie where Arnold Schwarzenegger gets pregnant.
I've never seen it.
That looks like a good contender.
Is that the one where like he's an adult in a child's body, or is that?
Are you talking about movies you have not seen and you're trying? Oh. I misunderstood. I thought you were talking about like you come in loaded. Like here's my 5 that I picked that I've seen.
That'd be a good like way of doing it too.
Okay.
But,
yeah, I've never seen Junior, but it looks awful. No, it's about a man who gets pregnant.
I remember seeing that.
Not someone who was born female and transitions, but a man with a penis. And I think I don't know about that. I've never seen it, but I think that they never fully explain like where the baby's coming out. Because obviously it would like rip his penis in half. So is he shitting out the baby? Like it never.
That's an excellent point.
So, I don't know why you saying that reminds me of this terrible animal fact, but like in female hyenas, the clitoris is what's known as a pseudophallus. So when female hyenas give birth, they give birth through that. So essentially, you have this very weird thing in the animal kingdom where it's like, oh, that dick's having a baby.
You know what I like? I like the way we can like go, isn't that weird? Meanwhile, if you were a hyena, you'd be like, wait a minute. Only one of them and they don't have dicks? What are you talking about?
I just find it like weird and like kind of a surrealist kind of way of like you have all of nature, which has basically been like eggs or vaginas, maybe cloacas, and then the hyena is just like, fuck it, why not all of them?
Why choose?
So Whoopi Goldberg
we
and
can
the
have
Lion
it
King
all.
gives birth through her penis. Okay.
So Tommy, what are some of you're bringing movies that you've seen that you love? These are my shit movies that I love. What are you bringing to the table?
Well, this is obvious, but like The Room.
Yeah.
I mean, like these.
Sure, yeah.
The first 2 are like obvious, but like The Room, Plan 9 from Outer Space. Those are both like great
classics.
Movies. Yeah, those are like classic ones. I'm trying to. There's you know Bruce Campball?
Yeah.
Of course I know Bruce Campbell.
Yeah. He's got this show called like Jack of All Trades, which is supposed to be like some sort of like historical fiction. There's like an episode of that I like. It's like 22 minutes that I show people whenever I want to like. It's just it's just so bad like so many times in so different ways.
Do you think it was because I mean if we're talking about Bruce Campbell, usually what
this
he
went
does
above
is,
it. This went above and beyond.
Oh, really?
I wouldn't have even mentioned it if it had just been that normal like
That's
Bruce
intense.
Campbell bad.
Well, he was talking about at brunch. He was talking about Turkish Star Wars.
Turkish Star Wars is fantastic,
and it reminded me. I don't know if did I ever tell you about Black Ninja?
I think we've talked about it off mic. I don't know if we've talked about
Black
it on
Ninja. By the way, everybody listening, don't watch it. Get with people and get drunk. Don't try to like watch this because it's dog shit. But it's also fascinating. Here's what they did. First of all, everything in it is dubbed. I think we somehow decided it was originally French. I don't know how we came to that conclusion. But the people who made this movie took a genuine kung fu movie, bought it, wiped the audio, and put their own dialogue on top. But then they filmed other people like in between the kung fu action that they paid for and tried to create a whole new story. Is that making sense?
Sounds almost like
Kung
Power
Pao. Rangers.
Kung Pao?
Yeah,
Kung
kind
Pao,
of.
like
But I think Kung Pao was actually all original. I might be wrong about that.
Wait, Kung Pao?
I think so, yeah.
The movie where he like fights the cow?
Yeah.
Some of it, they superimpose his face on other scenes.
So, but this isn't even... Because you just said superimpose, so that
this is just the scenes.
That implies that somebody digitally did something. This is literally you're watching 5 minutes of a Chinese kung fu movie, then it cuts to a police station, and the quality is vastly like the kung fu movie looks like a real movie. Then you're in just like an office that is a quote unquote police station, and then it cuts back to a quality kung fu movie. But even the people in the police station are dubbed. So it's like, what fucking country did this come from? But then the new people that they film, like, quote unquote, do kung fu, which is, I'm not joking, them jumping into frame. So the camera's just like in a field, and then off frame, somebody jumps into the middle of the frame, and then just like does the itsy bitsy spider with their arms. And then, like, that was the kung fu. Or what's that? That's not easy. What is that?
The hustle.
The hustle. They do the hustle with their arms. Yeah. And then they're all wearing like store-bought bandanas that say the word karate. It's amazing.
Nice.
It's amazing.
Have you guys seen Garth Marenghi's Dark Place?
Not no.
Have you seen like the IT Crowd?
Yes.
So it's the same people from that. It's basically like a 6-episode show, and it's sort of like bad on purpose, and it's about like this like sort of eccentric writer who writes like this hospital show, and it's really funny.
I've heard about it. A friend of mine just told me about that. It's got Matt Berry in it, right?
I love Matt Berry.
He's the best.
Matt Berry's the man, dude.
I would, to add to your list, I'm obviously going to argue for anything from Turkish Exploitation.
I haven't seen any of it, so I'm definitely
Turksploitation.
Where do I watch it?
Any of those. I would also argue Turkish Star Wars. Turkish Star Wars is amazing. It is amazing.
I smell a mini-sode.
They literally there's literally moments where you're watching them, the actors, you're watching them, and then they're just on a movie screen. We're showing the footage in reverse. We're showing our two actors in front of a movie screen that is playing Star Wars, the actual movie Star Wars, backwards. So it's like we need to show our two space pilots fighting in space. This is the Death Star battle. We're just going to play scenes from that in reverse. There's literally a shot where you see the Death Star's laser beam shooting out at a planet.
Nice.
And then it's just rewind, and
I like the idea that there's a guy in an editing booth just hitting forward and rewind. He's just doing this with his hand, just zip, 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 zip.
Right. But like they're sitting in front of this screen with safety helmets on, pretending that they're flying their own spaceship.
Oh, this
and
sounds
for
awesome.
Whatever reason,
It sounds like something high schoolers would do.
Here's the one of the weirdest things about this movie is, and I've been watching a long list of these movies recently because I've been watching Star Wars knockoffs.
Okay.
Right. Just because recently my brother introduced me to this. I had never really thought about it. I've known about spoofs for years, obviously. I didn't realize that, like, overseas, there has become this weird market for, we wanted to do the Avengers. We could not afford to do the Avengers. What we could afford to do was the Russian Avengers, which is we have all of these characters who are exactly like the American Western version, but we couldn't afford the Hulk, so meet Mr. Stretch Pants. He is a giant guy who's brown, so it's like, okay, you literally just stole the scene from Endgame with the Hulk, except now he's wearing blackface. That's all you've done. And somebody will make an entire movie and like you go, okay, this is amazing in itself, but there's a whole subgenre of like, oh my goodness, we can watch a movie from like almost every major country because you'll watch the Russian Endgame and then you'll go and you're like, oh my goodness, China made an Endgame. Oh my goodness, Japan made an Endgame. Oh my goodness,
even in Japan has a real fucking film market.
Yeah.
Well, I guess. I mean, we kind of have the same thing here. We have that Asylum Films that made the Transmorphers, shit like that.
Right, but it's weird because it's like it's somewhat beautiful to be like all the movies I'm watching right now.
All have, yeah.
Right, it's literally somebody saw Star Wars and then they're like, in Italy, we must have Star Wars, so we will make Italian Star Wars. And it's like, do you mean like
Pasta Wars?
Yeah, it's like, do you mean like Star Wars dubbed in Italian? No. We're gonna call it the Humanoid, and it's going to have all the elements of Star Wars. Desert planet. Literally the guy from Jaws from James Bond is in it.
Oh yeah.
We don't have lightsabers, but we have light arrows.
Nice.
And you're watching it, and it's like, I have to see.
That seems like an impractical weapon. Right? And it also seems like if you're going to use light arrow, why just laser guns? You don't need to load it into a bow, right?
Right. Watching these has been amazing because it's watching all the aspects of Star Wars interpreted through a different lens.
It's a nice like rabbit hole, yeah.
Right.
That sounds interesting.
Well, boys, it's been fun.
It has been.
MIC. See you real soon. Neither one of you has a fucking clue what that was.
I was going to do KEY,
oh, you were?
And
okay.
Then you had to be a dick.
No, that wasn't even about being a dick. That was self-loathing. That was, oh God, I'm the old guy in the room doing the Mickey Mouse Club.
Also, why are we doing the Mickey Mouse Club?
Because now it's time to say I was doing a bittersweet goodbye.
I know
to
you.
all your company.
I know you.
MIC. See you real soon. Don't make me do the whole thing.
I know you think that's what you're doing. Uh-huh. What you're doing is preparing the speech for your funeral. Huh? Because we're going to sit here and going to be like, in fond memory of Allan, remember that time on the podcast?
we were there UE he finally broke. Tommy, you got any shit to plug?
Not at the moment.
Not even.
I've been a little bit lazy on social media. So I mean, I got like a show, but
so like,
well,
where would
tell me about your show? God damn it!
It's October 15th. It is at La La Sangria Bar.
He's checking his phone. This is what happens now. We don't know things anymore. We have to rely on a little cube to tell us.
We've outsourced
our thoughts to, and I'm not insulting him because I would be doing the same thing right now. We've lost a bit. I don't know how to get anywhere anymore. I don't know where things.
I got it right.
Yeah.
It's La La Sangria Bar. When I said it, it sounded like I'm like, no, there's no way it's called that.
I didn't understand that. Say it slower. La.
No, it's LALA' Sangria Bar. So
La La's Sangria Bar.
Friday, October 15th, 8 p.m.
Perfect.
And if people wanted to just follow you on social media or whatever, where would they do that at?
So this is from a bygone era, but the Snazzy Virgin on Instagram is still the main one that I have. But
okay.
Yeah, that's kind of hard to maintain that one after a while, right?
Eventually
that can't continue. All right, boys, it's been good. Thank you, Tommy, for coming.
Thank you so much.
We
had a great time.
And let me ask you a question.
Yeah?
So, how about this?
That's a good point, but I think I'm going to pass it off to Tommy and say, so how about this?
So how about this?
Hey guys, thank you so much for listening to another episode of So How About This. If you liked that episode, please don't forget to like, comment, subscribe, or leave a review. If you really like this, tell a friend. If you hated us, tell somebody you also hate. Tell 5 people that you hate about us. Find your arch enemy and convince them to listen to our podcast because you hate us so much and you want to punish them for it. Also, don't forget to follow us on Twitter at So How About This One. That's the words So How About This followed by the number 1. If you have any questions you want answered on the show, just hit us up on Twitter and don't forget to stay tuned for new episodes.